Congratulations on your weight loss. Look at you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm over here getting all slim and trim. I'm
Your bathing suit ready.
trying to get ready. What did Danielle say? I'm trying to, instead of cutting off the sleeves, I'm trying.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be wearing little belly shirts.
The crop tops belly. No, you know what? That ain't gonna happen. But that was funny.
It was pretty funny. It's a funny one.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that. Or someone else said I'm gonna be in skinny jeans. Nah, I don't think I'm probably not gonna do that.
But that's a big milestone when you get under 200.
Right?
That's amazing. Yeah.
I'm all excited. I know I got a little bit more to go, but I just been all excited of just the fact that I got under 200. So.
Man, I gotta move into the Mills house between you and Jasmine. What's in your water? Can I have some?
I gotta catch up to Jasmine. Jasmine lost like 120 pounds. Goodness.
Is there something in the air in Connecticut? Should I just move?
Jasmine's just been on fire. I don't know. I can't. And then she walked around here telling me what I should and should not eat or drink. You know what I mean? Now she's the expert now. Now I gotta listen to Jazz go.
I mean, she's got some pretty crazy results, so she might be onto something.
Yeah, she probably is. I should probably listen to her, but I don't. Anyway.
Kick it off.
I'll kick it off.
Let's go.
Let's go. This is our weekly wellness check where we just talk about the fitness industry. We talk about connected fitness stuff. We talk a lot about Peloton because all of us tend to be Peloton owners, right? And if we want, we talk about our fitness journeys. The session is recorded and it's available after for replay on Clubhouse. It's also available on podcast platforms.
So exciting. People may actually hear this on a replay.
Yeah. Exactly.
And look, Jasmine's in the audience. We were just talking about her. I hope she was on for all those compliments we were just throwing her.
See, her ears probably ringing. She was like,
"Oh, see, look at that. Danielle couldn't stay away."
Oh, okay. Danielle came through. See, that's what I'm talking about. If Jazz came, she probably heard, her ears probably ringing. She probably heard me talking.
Oh, she's coming up. I'm bringing her up.
Oh, okay.
She's going to tell us all how to lose weight.
She can tell us what's going on and how to make it work, right? So anyway, yeah, we're going to kick this off and jump into the topic, start talking about all this stuff I put on the agenda. I put like 800 things on there.
I'm going to start giving you like a hard stop time limit.
I should have like a limit on number of agendas.
Or like a bell. It's going to be like speed dating, but not like, just like 15 seconds. When you hear the bell, you got to move on to the next topic.
Exactly. So before I even get into those things, so Jazz, did you hear me talking crap or something? Is that why you came in?
No, hold on. You were talking crap. I was giving her compliments.
That's right. I was talking crap.
So I think I should start out by saying thank you, Tammy, for giving me my props. This is the usual, talk I get from my father. So this is nothing new,
So. I have to get her head to get all swole. So I just, you doing that's what I tell her. Right?
But I see he's trying to catch up. So I added some classes to my stack. So it's fine.
All right. Fierce competition in the Mills house.
That's right. Definitely. That's right. I'm going to win. Don't worry. I'm going to win.
Jasmine, did you take the hiking boot camp this week? I know you're an RK hiker.
Yes, I took the boot camp, and it was actually my first tread boot camp. I had never taken one before, and I'm still sore. So,
oh boy,
that tells you how it went. But I loved it. I am in love with it. So I will be taking tread boot camps from now on. It was awesome.
Great.
That's good. That's cool. Yeah, I had to hip her to the tread boot camps, because I've done them, many times before,
Yeah. So I guess we're relying on Clubhouse now. So
okay.
I know, and this is recorded and it will live on the internet forever. So be careful what you say.
Right. All right. I'm gonna come clean. It wasn't me. Matter of fact, when I do tread boot camps, I'm faking the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell the truth. Anyway, all right. The first topic is the Alex and Tunde 2-for-1 ride. Now, I took it. Me and Erica took it, and we were on there, losing our minds like we always do. And then we took the last one in studio, which that was right before the whole pandemic thing dropped, right? But I enjoyed it. I liked the energy. I liked the hype. It was interesting. They didn't have that plexiglass between them. And then they talked about it like to me felt like it was a segue into, oh, by the way, and we're about to open the studio. Like, it felt like that was the precursor. But I enjoyed the ride. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I enjoyed it. Any thoughts?
I mean, I didn't take it. I haven't been on the bike much just because I have my half marathon in 2 weeks. So I'm trying to just focus on that. But I saw different clips of it and it looked like it was just, crazy. I mean, the energy between the two of them, they just have such chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I always enjoy the banter. And I know during the class, Tunde thanked Alex for their first 2-for-1. I guess at that time, the first one, she was new and trying to kind of gain followers or gain folks kind of taking the classes. And so she said that Alex suggested the idea of them doing that the first time to kind of get folks to her classes. So that was interesting to hear. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Hey there.
Hey, Jessica, how's it going?
Good. How are you all? Or
Doing
you?
good.
I had jumped up first when you were still on your weight loss subject because
That's
I
cool.
wanted to say congratulations and job well done getting under 200, because I know anytime ever when I've been losing weight, getting to a milestone like that is just a huge. So good job, John.
I appreciate it. I would take all credit, but since Jasmine's out here, I gotta tell the truth.
We have to be honest. Yes.
It's
Jasmine, do you keep him from eating Nutter Butters?
No, I have to say that my mom is fully responsible for his success.
yeah, it's all Erica. Erica is like the meal planner. She tells me what I'm supposed to eat, what I'm not supposed to eat, when to eat, when not to eat. It's all Erica. I just go, okay, all right. But
Oh.
no, I was at a spot like a couple months ago. I was at a spot where I was just literally kind of depressed about. I've all my life I've worked out, but I was eating so poorly, and I was just kind of like upset about where my weight was kind of headed, and that's where Erica jumped in and saved the day. So
Yeah, the pandemic has done, I mean, for me personally, it really did a number on me
yeah,
in a lot of ways, but definitely in the weight department. So I'm
yeah,
working on that too now, but I'm not being like super strict, on a meal plan, stuff like that. I'm just trying to eat healthy and eat what my body needs, and instead of what I want.
right, right,
and I've just been having so much fun stacking classes with the Bike Plus.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think
that's mainly what.
I don't think it's not just you. I think a lot of us went through that. I think through 2020 and 2021, where like
Yeah.
stay at home and working at home and door dashes and
Yeah.
I think
Door. Yeah.
a lot
Oh,
of us just
door
that
dashes.
that happened to me. That definitely happened to me. And so
Not to mention alcohol.
yep, yep,
That unfortunately became a staple.
yep, yeah. I don't think it's just me and you, Jessica. I think it was a lot of people. I think that the pandemic, that pandemic weight thing is a real thing. So
Yeah.
I've been fighting it. But yeah.
But I mean, I'm excited to talk about all your thousands of topics, but that was the main reason why I came up.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it is like thousands of topics.
Well,
Um,
I was going to say, hey guys, I'm happy to be here, but I'm also sad to be here because that means my kid is done wrestling.
oh,
So,
Aw.
yeah, he tweaked his knee, so he's out. So I'm here with you guys, so that's my consolation prize.
so is it like a tournament? I don't know how it works. Was it like a tournament, Danielle?
Yeah, it was a tournament. He placed second in district, so he was wrestling in regionals to make it the states.
Oh,
So he was trying to
okay.
get the states. So he tweaked his knee. He battled back, and then he wasn't able to finish the last one. So he's done. His wrestling career is over as it stands because he's a senior. So I'm a little sad.
Wow.
He's fine,
That's a
but I'm
big
sad.
that's a big deal, Danielle. I mean, for him, I just to go out that way and then to have it be at the end of his, wrestling time. That's sorry about that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was harder for me than it was for him.
Yeah. How's the knee? You got to get it checked out, or is it
Yeah, we're
something?
gonna have to get it checked out. Right? He had tweaked it before, and we were kind of holding off. He was holding off until to get through postseason wrestling. So we'll get an MRI and see what's going on. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. He's been wrestling with a brace on and stuff. So, but I am here with you guys. I did not take the ride with Alex and Tunde live. I listened in because we were finishing up celebrating Paul's birthday weekend.
Right.
So I was like wifey duty. I had to cook and stuff like that,
Happy birthday, Paul.
I will tell him you guys said that. And but I listened in and it sounded amazing. I cannot wait to take it. The playlist was like fire. But I will tell you that there were some ladies who were like really concerned that sounded like Alex was leaving based on like the conversations that him and Tunde were having. There was a lot of chatter that was like, is this a send off for Alex?
Ooh, I must have missed it. I missed
Well,
that.
why? What did they say? I didn't hear any of that
I
either.
don't know. I didn't pick up on it. To me, it was just them kind of like loving on each other and like being appreciative of one another. And Tunde just really sharing, how she was so appreciative of the fact that he suggested that first 2-for-1. But some people took it as like, is this Alex leaving? Was this like his send off? Was this like a goodbye? So I don't know. Did anybody in the audience take it that way? From what I listened to, I did not take it that way. I took it as them kind of just like loving on one another and being grateful for each other. But yeah, that was like there were quite a few posts who were like, is Alex leaving? What's happening?
No, I took it like you did. They were just had a big love fest.
Yeah, if that was what it was, I completely missed it. But that doesn't mean anything. I miss a lot of stuff.
Well,
But I didn't.
Tunde did say she wants one more, so she did mention that, and that's probably what people are picking up on is that Tunde said she wants to do one more. So
Right.
I think that's what people are picking up on.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't even catch that. I remember I heard that because I think Alex mentioned that when they first had the conversations about the first one, he mentioned that he needed 5. He wanted to do these 5 times, I guess. So yeah, I heard that piece where they needed to do at least one more. But yeah, that sentiment that you got there, Daniel, I completely missed it if that was going on. Hey, Megan, how's it going?
It's going well. Hello, everybody. I was coming up to say the same thing that Ariel just said, that I wonder if when she said she wanted one more, if people thought that were taking that to mean something else. But yeah.
That's probably that. I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Ladies in BGM were like up in arms. Were like, is Alex leaving? Is this the end? And I was like, I mean, maybe I missed it because I was only listening in on the app. I wasn't actually taking the class. And I'm like, that's not what I heard at all. So
It's not
I
what I
just
heard
wanted
either.
some people who took it to like fill me in.
You
Yeah,
know,
I didn't take it that way either. I thought it was just a really sweet moment
yeah,
between them.
that's what I thought too. I hear a lot like the thought, and on different topics. We'll be talking about different things. And there'll be this idea that the instructors might have a different endeavor, or at some point they might go somewhere else. And my mind always goes to, unless it's like venturing into something brand new, wouldn't that be kind of tough to leave Peloton? I mean, I got to imagine none of the other fitness platforms have the same type of pay scale and benefits as a Peloton, I would think, right?
I have to agree. I think unless they're going to do something outside of the fitness world, I don't think they'd have the same kind of notoriety or pay scale, like you said, as they're going to get with Peloton. So, I mean, Allie has her whole company and she does all of her hosting, and now Jess is getting into hosting gigs and stuff. But I don't think they're going to leave for another fitness type of situation because I don't think they'd make the same kind of money.
That's where I'm at.
I mean, I have no idea what the pay scale is, but I mean, Jennifer Jacobs is off doing her thing, and I think Beachbody has a little bit more global popularity, but I don't know that, in terms of pay scale, how it compares.
Right.
I think she got lucky though in being swooped up by them, because I think she left for whatever reason, whether of her own accord or not. I know there's debate around that situation, and then she was able to be swooped up by Beachbody, because if you remember, she went out and did her own thing first, and she was kind of
Yeah.
on her own with her
Mhm.
own bands, her own workout for a while, and then she was finally swooped up in a Beachbody. So I think she got kind of
Well,
lucky.
she had a
I
she had a
don't know that it would work
contract.
for
She
that
had to
many of
wait
them.
out. She had to wait out a year
Right.
after her last Peloton ride before she could join another competitor.
Okay. So I didn't know if it was that or if it was just because she did her own thing first. Because she definitely had her own thing prior to going to Beachbody, and I wasn't sure how that was working out for her. But I just don't think that Beachbody can pay the same as Peloton, I would think. I mean, unless you're like Sean T or somebody. But I think somebody coming in, I don't think they're going to make the Sean T kind of money.
Yeah, that's kind of my assumption too. I don't really know, but that's kind of my assumption. But then I start making these comparisons to like other Peloton instructors that have left for whatever reason. Like some we never heard of anymore. Some went places like to iFit but they don't have the same type of notoriety. Like I think like the outlier is Jennifer Jacobs. Like I think she's kind of maintained some level of notoriety, but every other one they just kind of move on, kind of disappear. Which makes me think that another reason why I just think like that would have to be tough to like by choice, I would think. Just say we're leaving Peloton unless you're just going a different route, I
Yeah.
think.
I mean, I'm sure they all have non-compete clauses on their contract, so you have to wait out that period, still kind of maintain your fan base in other creative ways,
Right.
because it's like your yesterday's news, it's like who? You've moved on. I mean, even like as big of a fan base as she had, there were new instructors coming in and, people just moved on and, most
Yeah.
of them didn't follow her.
Yeah, all of them just kind of just like generally they just kind of just disappear. It's crazy. But anyway, so yeah, I hope. Yeah, I don't think that's the case with Alex. I think he's all good. But so yeah, I think that was probably just a misunderstanding with regards to what they were saying in their banter. But I hope. But that's my guess there. So last week someone mentioned before the ride happened that, or asked the question, are they going to have the plexiglass between them? Well, that got answered. No, they didn't. So did you guys see that as like a step toward I took it as when they mentioned it, like they talked to it. I took that as we're letting you know that we're stepping into studio opening. And I know they said that on the homecoming site, it says summer, but I took that as them kind of just, reiterating that, yeah, we're moving to that.
Well, first of all, if we would have seen the plexiglass, they would have looked like the biggest bunch of hypocrites because, all of the instructors all day long are on social media
Right.
posting in each other's face. But
Right.
I think even more telling than the lack of plexiglass was, I don't know if anyone caught it, but later in the week, Nico led a meditation. I think it was live, but or not all, maybe about 10 of the other instructors were in the studio with her in this guided peace meditation, I guess, really directed towards, what's going on in the Ukraine. And so, they were sitting socially distanced, but, it was the first time that you kind of saw an instructor led class with participants being recorded.
I saw I saw the images of that. So help me with that. So that was just a class for the instructors, not one publicized that we could all kind of take.
I don't know if it was on the schedule. I mean, it's in the on demand library now. I don't
Oh, okay.
know
It was
if
it was live
it
with
was
Nico.
okay.
Yeah, and Travis, he's part of the production. Wanted to do this. He sent out an email, and Peloton was on board, and they made it happen like within like a 24, 48-hour type deal. So he just really wanted everybody to come together, not so much about Ukraine, but just like what's going on. Everybody's carrying a lot of weight, and he wanted to, it's a peace meditation. So he wanted to bring people together as a peace meditation. So it was really cool to hear the backstory of how it came about. And, but it was live with Nico, which he's a German instructor. So, or yes. And so it was cool that she did one in English and had other instructors in the room too. So it was live though.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I have to check it
So
out.
that must mean she flew in from Germany?
No, she's based in New York City with the other instructors.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out, man. That sounds really neat. I mean, I saw the
It
ad.
was really good.
It was good.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. I didn't do it live, but
Anybody else take it?
I took it and I only saw it because I got a notification. I can't figure out how to turn off YouTube notifications. And so anytime anybody that I follow on YouTube posts anything, I get an alert for it. And it was posted, it was a live stream onto YouTube as well. So initially when I started it on YouTube thinking it was just something that they were doing on YouTube. And I opened it and then I thought, I wonder if it's also on the platform. So then I opened the app and I had them both going. But it was weird because I think it's 10 minutes on the app, but it was only 5 minutes on YouTube. But yeah, so I had them both going and it was weird, but I initially saw it because of the alert on YouTube.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay, wow. I didn't. You guys are telling me way more than I knew about this class. It's crazy that it was like streamed on YouTube. It's actually on the platform as well. That's pretty cool. That's really neat.
Look at me adding all of these topics to your agenda. I'm just going completely off on my own.
See, it's Tammy with all the agenda.
I know. At
It's not
first I
me.
bring up the weight loss that wasn't on the agenda. Now the peace meditation, the hiking boot camp. I'm gonna shut up now.
See, no, that was a good one. I like that one. Actually, it's a perfect segue. I'm gonna skip our topic number 2 and go to 3 because I think this aligns really well. So they brought back or started to advertise Tunde's Fitness Flip podcast again. Like, as you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, it showed up and then they took it down because they accidentally, had it out in the Spotify library. So they pulled it down and now they brought it back and told everybody, okay, yeah, it's happening. It's supposed to start, in a few days, right? Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday, I think.
I
Yeah,
think they saw you listing this on Spotify and they got nervous.
that what it was. That's what it was.
That's what it was. Tunde was like, John Mills, got to get after it.
That John Mills over there tripping. Let's put our stuff here. So,
They
yeah,
absolutely were shook by our podcast. Like,
they were
just
shook. That's what it
saying.
was.
All
They were
26
shook.
replays.
Listen, don't underestimate the 26
I
replays. They were
know.
shooketh.
They were shook.
And we appreciate all 26 of you.
It was 110 now, or if you count
All
it,
right, sorry.
it's 220.
They all told 2 people.
Woo
They
woo,
all told you.
220.
But yeah, so I when I saw that, I was like, I was still in the mindset that it's just a podcast, right? I just thought, okay, yeah, we already knew because of the first advertisement of it that on Thursdays, Tunde was going to be talking to either a celebrity or an instructor, and on Tuesdays, and then on Thursdays, Tunde was going to be talking to like a community member, like an interview of somebody who's a part of the Peloton community. So we already kind of knew that. What's interesting to me is with this new announcement of it, they didn't go into that level of detail to tell you what's happening on what days. So like it makes me wonder, did they like change their mind? Is it now just going to be one day? Like I don't know. But the most interesting thing about it to me was they said it will be available in outdoor walks on the platform. So this isn't just like a podcast. This is like a category offering, right? So you just be able to get to it from different places. Whether you're using the app, you can get to them. I guess they're assuming people are going to get to be walking or, jogging or doing whatever they're doing, and kind of listening to it from the platform, or they can do the same thing and just from their whatever tool they use to get podcasts, they can do it from there. I found that interesting.
I think that's super smart on their part. Like
Yeah.
super smart. Because one, it gives them more numbers when they look at who's taking a class, quote unquote. Because
Ooh.
now instead of listening to it from a podcast or someplace, you can listen to it from the app and have your miles count while you're walking your dog or strolling your neighborhood. So that definitely helps them either way. So
Ooh.
I think it's really smart to put it under class.
I hadn't even thought about it like that. You're right. If they could count it as a workout when people listen to the content. Wow. Yeah, you're right. That's pretty slick. So yeah, I thought it was really exciting. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I love Tunde. Tunde's awesome, and I don't know if it's all for me about listening to whatever celebrity they bring to the table. I just to talk. It's more to me. It's just about hearing Tunde's perspectives and what she's saying and what she's providing, and probably the community member that if they continue that down that line. I'm interested in that. What's going on, Marcos?
What's up, John? Sorry for the crying baby in the background. You know that whole thing with Tunde? I think they're doing it like Apple does those celebrity walks. You know how they bring celebrities to talk for the outdoor walks? It's kind of that concept.
Yep, that's exactly what I saw. It as like, it made me wonder, did they see, was there like some success in that, right, with Apple Fitness Plus, and they were like, oh snap, we gotta tie to that. It makes me wonder if they thought that. But with the disparity, the difference though is it's almost like Peloton got a little innovative with theirs, because I'm assuming from a Fitness Plus perspective, that's not published somewhere on a podcast platform, right? I'm assuming you have to be in Fitness Plus for that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I think it's smart that they're doing it. But when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's pretty clever. They're trying to take that concept.
Yeah, I think it's pretty slick. I know Fitness Plus I think at the beginning of February, yeah, they had like a lot of celebrity lined up for these walks. And I thought it was pretty, I can't remember who all the celebrities were, but I remember when I looked at the lineup on Fitness Plus, I was like, wow, that's pretty slick. Like if you're a fan of one of those folks, and just to position it as though you're just kind of taking a walk outside, now you get to listen to this person that you admire. It was always like, it was people that you might admire. It didn't seem to be like, like an artist, or in that way. It seemed to be like folks that are, like they had Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter in one of the walks. And so it just sounded really interesting. And it sounds like Peloton's kind of taking a page from that. So I'm really looking forward to them. You were going to say, Danielle, I think you were about to say something.
No, I was just gonna say I can't understand why none of us have been interviewed by Peloton to be a part of this podcast with Tunde. That's all. Like,
Well,
I mean,
I know somebody who was. I know one person who was. So that tells me that they are going to persist, the community interview piece. But yeah, I'm looking forward to those. I think those are going to be fun. That's going to be some cool stuff. So cool. Let's see. Oh, so let me back up. Let me go. That was agenda item number 3, Tammy. So I'm gonna have to go backwards to go back to number 2. I skipped it. So number 2 was the Barry McCarthy interview on Yahoo Finance. Like I found it really interesting. He's kind of regurgitating like the same kind of messages. It sounds like he talked about how they're focusing on software. Then he used this term like we're going to be moving towards fitness as a service, which I think kind of aligns to probably partnering with other folks, putting things on the platform is what I'm guessing. I don't know. Or that pricing model that they talked about where new purchasers of the bike will have an option to like just pay like a monthly and not have to shell out the $2,000 or whatever it is for the bike or tread. They will just pay like a leasing fee. Like he's talking about stuff like that. So it to me, I don't, he's talking these two concepts. I don't know when this stuff is going to happen. It sounds kind of like progressive, but I don't know. I don't know if is that going to play. Like, are folks that are looking to get a Peloton bike, if you eliminate that upfront cost, is that going to drive more folks to? I just don't know. I don't know, but that's what he's thinking. I don't know if you guys have
I,
any.
I definitely think I know people who would take up that offer,
Yeah.
instead of having to put the money out front for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it would have to be a little different than like how the financing thing worked, right? Because to me, the financing thing was kind of a similar thing, right? You paid one monthly, but you kind of just like paying it back. I'm assuming this is going to be more like you're paying one monthly. You didn't have to put out the upfront cost for the hardware, but if we upgrade it, we'll just bring a new upgrade to you, and if you decide to quit, we'll just come and take the hardware. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's probably going to be like.
Do we think it's also aimed more at people who are app users?
Yeah, that's
Because because I feel like those would be the people most likely to want to buy the bike because they have the experience of taking the classes, but not the full experiences because they don't have the equipment.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I got the impression that he felt it would just kind of uh, drive more drive the subscriber base beyond just the app user. That was the thought. That's what my perception was. Like he thought that more folks would come to the platform because they have this new pricing model beyond the app user. But I don't know. I'm still kind of skeptical about it. Like I don't really. It does. I mean, the common person that purchases a Peloton, is that the driver for them? Is it I need to drop the cost to entry and I will take a higher monthly? Like I don't know, but that's what it sounds like his perception is.
I don't understand the difference between what they're doing and what a firm does.
Right. That's where I get lost too. It's like I'm assuming the only difference is like if you're going to still owe the money from an affirm perspective, right? Even if you quit. But I'm assuming in this scenario, if you go, I don't want it anymore, there are no more payments. They just come take your equipment. That's it.
Oh,
I
okay. I mean, that
I,
makes sense.
I thought
I get that.
I thought Affirm was like a loan. I remember way back when that I did Affirm to get my original bike, and they only loaned me a certain amount. It wasn't the whole cost,
Right.
and I wasn't asking for. I just said I want to pay for the bike with this, and then it came back and told me how much it would let me borrow.
That varies from person to person, though, because some people qualify for the whole amount of the bike, so they don't pay anything up front, and they get like a 0% interest. So
Right, I got
I
zero
just don't,
percent interest too,
and then they
but
don't have to pay anything up front. They just pay a
right,
firm. But I mean, like, I get it because it puts everything in one bill instead of having two bills. So instead of having the monthly subscription and the Affirm bill, you get one bill if you're doing it that way. But I don't know if I necessarily see the benefit unless someone else said the fact that one, you can return it and be done, like John just said. Like if
Right.
you decide I don't want this, I'm done, and then you're done with it. Whereas like Affirm, it doesn't matter if you're
Right.
done. Just, so what? Like you still owe the rest of this money.
Right.
that's what I was going to ask him. Are they going to be checking people's credit and monthly income and all that stuff in order to lease it?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question, but it makes me. I don't know if they'll need to do that in that scenario, right? Like I don't know. It's a good question. Hey, what's going
I
on,
think if they're taking
Kari?
it back, do they? I don't think they need to check, right? Like if you don't pay and they take it back, do they need to check people's credit or income? Or I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I guess it makes you think maybe they don't need to do that. I don't
An
know.
interesting thought regarding that and leasing. You know how with cars, like when the man comes to repo, he can just take the car right off the street or whatever. But I imagine them, coming into your house and taking your bike. You're
And how
holding
does that?
onto the handlebars.
Oh,
Don't take my
No,
bike.
yeah, that might not work. It
And
might
how
not
does that
work.
work now with the new Verizon platform? With like all of your streaming stuff being in one bill if you're a Verizon customer. How does that work then?
Yeah, that whole Verizon thing got me all confused. Like I don't even get that whole thing. I want to ask you guys about that in a second. But let me bring Kari in. What's up? What's up, Kari? How's it going?
Good, John. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good evening, everyone. I think this topic is pretty interesting. What you're talking about when it comes to the price of entry with Peloton. For me, it just seems it's already pretty inexpensive, and to get in, if you can get into a firm, a lot of people talk about a firm, and they present a lot of the monthly pricing already. They don't necessarily present. I mean, from what I see in a lot of the advertisements, a lot of it's based on a monthly payment to finance the bike or the tread. So I'm just trying to think. I know I'm kind of confused like you, John. I'm trying to figure out like how are they going to make this work even of a lower, maybe as Danielle was saying, maybe the leasing thing could work, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, like, wouldn't the monthly in this model have to be lower than the monthly of a loan through a firm? Because otherwise, it's like you're gonna be like paying forever in this model because you don't own
Worse, it's
anything.
the rent to own process. Like, who
Yeah,
wants to? Who is Peloton? No, I can't see Peloton becoming that type of brand, right? Like, that just wouldn't make sense to me.
like rent a center. Like I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You pay $29 every month for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and is it valuable enough that okay, when things upgrade, you get a new upgrade. Okay, and you get another bike, you get a new bike, a new monitor, you get the new monitor. Like, is that enough of a
But that
benefit?
already
Like, I don't
happens.
know.
Like, we got $700 for our old bike to get the new one. So I, I don't know. Like, I feel like Peloton's already came up with this way to make it less expensive, easier to continue to stay on the platform, easier to stay to get another bike, to upgrade or whatever it may be. Feels like they've already got that in place. But this other piece, and then talking about fitness as a service, I, I think that's kind of tough too to understand from everybody's standpoint. And it's not software as a service. Like
Right.
I don't get it.
And then on the other side, also, I know I know at one time, and maybe it still is. Maybe this is up for debate. But I know at one time Peloton was this like aspirational brand, and they did it on purpose, and they had it only in these malls where there were Tesla dealerships and Apple stores, and there were certain areas you couldn't even get it, and they made it like this exclusive aspirational thing. And then sometime around 2018, late 2018 or so, they went to this, okay, we're going to start being a little broader. We want to make sure that it's affordable for a broader base of consumers. And so they went to that model, and then that kind of progressed really quickly once they started having those financial issues at the end of last year. And so they started dropping the price, which I know they got into a little bit of trouble with that because as they dropped the price of the bike, then everybody just started buying the lower cost bike, and then no one was buying the Bike Plus. And so then they were trying to figure out how to balance that out. So then they brought back delivery fees for the lower cost bike. So I'm saying all this because I'm thinking, okay, let's say they do come up with this model we're talking about and it somehow works. We don't get it, but it somehow works. Doesn't that take them further away from that whole aspirational kind of historic kind of concept? And is that a good thing? Like, I don't even know. I don't know from a business perspective for them. That makes
It doesn't I don't know. We look at brands all the time, and I feel like the iPhone gets more expensive every time it comes out.
right.
And if Peloton continues, like you were saying, to lower the price to make it less and less expensive, then you're starting to buy the product because of the price. And I
Right.
don't believe that's the reason why people buy great products. They don't buy it because it's the lowest price. They buy it because it's the best.
Right.
So when you look at Apple or Tesla, you don't see Elon lowering the price of car. He didn't even want to sell 100,000 cars to Hertz at a
Right.
discount. He said, "Screw that. We won't sell them to you."
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's interesting to hear all these things that are happening. So I hope they kind of come to an alignment with some standard. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah. You're kind of where I'm at, and I also like, when I look across that space, their bikes similar cost to like the iFit bikes, the Nordic Tracks, and I can't remember their other product line, but similar price to their bikes, similar price to the Echelon bikes. Like they're all very similar price, and then the monthlies for the content, all basically the same thing. So if their brand, which we know the content is clearly way better than any of that other stuff, and if they're considered to be kind of the, that gold standard brand, then how come the prices are all exactly the same? That still kind of throws me too a little bit. Like why is that? Does it have to be that way? But aren't they much better than those competitors? Should it be that way? Right?
They are much better.
Right, right,
And
right,
I'm wondering how many people have decided to go with the other brands because they dropped the pricing. Like it was like a thing. I remember because I got my bike in 2018, and it was a gift. I had no idea I was getting it. My husband, as everyone has heard this story multiple times, my husband swore up and down I was never getting a Peloton bike. Like it was ridiculous. I wouldn't use it. Yada yada yada. So I'm just curious how many people now are like, oh, I'm not going to buy that because it's so close to the price of a lesser model. You know what
right.
I mean? Like, has it lost that level of like, ooh, I want this because it's so expensive?
Yeah,
Because I mean, a lot of brands have that. It really is a thing. It's like you may be as good as the Walmart model, but people want the Target model because it's from Target.
right.
But it's the exact same as the Walmart one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was wondering about too. That whole idea of being aspirational. Like, did they lose that, and does this take them further from that, and thus doesn't help them really? Maybe hurts. Like that's where my mind is too. Like I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, and you guys jump on me if I'm way off base. I don't know, but I have no fear. I'll just say it. I know Barry McCarthy was a big, huge Peloton, or is a big, huge Peloton rider, loved the platform, felt that the magic was in the content and in those instructors on that screen. That's the magic. It's not the hardware. Like that was his thought coming in. So after seeing all of the struggles Peloton was having, he comes in thinking, okay, I know how to fix this because I know what makes them great. And my mind is now starting to think, does he? Like is it like the person sitting home, the armchair quarterback person that thinks they could have thrown that pass better if they were on the field, but maybe that doesn't really apply? Is that just like blasphemy, what I just said? You know,
I'm trying to understand what you just said.
like I'm saying like we know the new CEO was a big fan of Peloton. We know he rode just like we do. He'd be on the bike in Robin's hip hop rides, and he'd be all hyped up just like us. He'd be on Alex's, Saturday classes, and he was hyped up just like us. He was a fan. He was a member at home, right? He just happened to be a member that just happened to be, CFO for a couple major companies. But he was just like us. So in stepping into this role, he's just like us in that way as well. He was at home seeing Peloton falter, going, you know what? They should do this. They should do that. Just like we're doing right now. He was doing the same thing. So that's why I'm saying, like, just because I might sit home watching an NBA game, and just because I see LeBron throw a bad pass and I start going, he should have passed it to the corner, don't mean that if I was on the court, I could have done that. And so that's why I'm going. Does Barry McCarthy, can he really fix this? Like I'm asking because maybe he was just a fan thinking like us, like right.
So you're thinking, you're asking, maybe he's an armchair quarterback for Peloton?
I'm positioning the question. I'm thinking, is he really? I'm wondering. Yeah, it's got my mind wondering because he like these concepts that he's bringing out. Maybe they're great. Maybe they work. He was a CFO. I don't know, but it makes my mind go. Is he just like? Is he thinking like us? But in the actual workings of the business and getting into it, will he kind of like calm those thoughts because he'll start to recognize where they may or may not play?
I think the one major difference is that he's actually done something before,
Yeah.
whereas most whereas most armchair quarterbacks have done shit. Like they maybe high school,
Right. Right.
maybe college at the
Right.
best,
Yeah.
but they've never done professional sports. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel like at least with him, he's been a professional quote unquote sports player where he's been in there
Right.
and he's done it. So I think that's one major difference.
Okay. I'm gonna go with that. All right. Were you gonna say anything, Kari? I thought I saw you about to jump in.
I don't know. I'm still wrapping my head around all of this. um, it's tough to say because Barry obviously has a lot of experience and he's done a lot for different companies.
Right.
And he's brought companies from a certain level to the next level. I feel like we've got to kind of see him out and see him
Right.
through. I think we're a little early
Yeah.
to judge him quite now. How long has it been since he's been on board? But maybe a month, 2 months,
Right.
possibly.
Right.
It's gonna take a while. It's kind of like a cruise ship that's going. It's hard to turn it around
Right.
in the middle of it chugging down the water. Um, he's not gonna do this. He's a CFO, so he's not gonna do this like snapping his finger or like breaking some type of gavel over his desk. He's gonna talk to a lot of people. He's gonna learn about what's going on. He's gonna figure out ways to help steer the ship in the right direction. So I
Yeah.
really don't know. I think we're gonna have to kind of see how this all turns out.
Yeah. I hear you. You gonna say, Megan?
Oh, I agree 100% with Danielle and Kari, but I also wonder just a little bit if there's not something to be said about the way that he has presented himself as the sort of not John Foley. I don't know what the best term for it is, but and maybe like shifting the tide and just showing up differently. Like maybe people get on board because all of a sudden this seems new and different.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I definitely think like kind of just like a change. I think that was good. I agree. And also, I know everybody doesn't really like it, but I do. His demeanor. Like I'm with the demeanor. I like now. I don't know how that plays to how employees internally are truly being treated and how they are how fulfilling their work is. Like I don't know how that's playing. That's different. I don't know. I mean, behind the scenes, who knows what's going on there? But his presentation outwardly to like the media, like that kind of not holding anything back, being really kind of forthcoming, being really aggressive. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of with that.
But I think that there's a real risk in that, because I think that if you want to present like that, and maybe and hopefully that's just his natural way, not that I necessarily care for it, but like if that's your way, I think you really have to deliver.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Yeah, you can't be a flop with that. Like, yeah, you're going to do that. Yeah, you better have something behind it. Hey, Judy, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
Doing well.
I was just gonna add, I'm curious. I do like his style, honestly, and I think as much as I love Peloton over the years, both from the company and the workout standpoint, I kind of separate the business side from I enjoy the workout side. But I was gonna say the fitness as a service isn't an entirely new idea. If you remember years ago, John talked about that as a possibility, just from the idea of broadening access and more from market share, growing market share and being a larger company. He did, I don't remember if it was the interview with a clip out like years ago, but he did talk about the fitness as a service concept. While I personally wouldn't do that, like rent something in perpetuity, I can see how, to a lot of people, just that, because people, not everyone is necessarily thinking, you know, 10
Right.
years down the road. Like it may not be for the current market of Peloton, but the idea would be so that they can grow their market share much larger than they currently are.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
so
think,
I don't think it's new, and that's where I'm like, that was kind of John's thing years ago. I don't like it necessarily, but I don't know, other people might still view it as, something viable. It wouldn't make sense for me personally. I don't think it's a good idea financially to to do that on a personal level, but
right.
like you were saying, people rent furniture and things like that forever. I don't know.
It
So
makes,
we'll see. I'm excited for the change just to see how things go. Hopefully he can turn it around. And if not, we've had a good run so far.
yeah, I'm excited about the fact that there are these ideas that are just jumping out.
Yeah.
But this particular one, like, what are they going to do with all the return stuff? Like,
Right.
I wonder about too. Do they just like reuse that to the next person that aligns to this model for purchase? Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't get it. I know my mind
Yeah.
isn't processing it. Like, I
Did
don't know.
they ever do the CPO program? I know they talked about that a while
They
ago.
didn't because they said they didn't have enough inventory returned. So that never got off to, they didn't have enough people taking up the $700 return offer or
I
trade
thought
in, whatever.
I thought they kind of did it, but they didn't announce it, and it was like individual based. Like I
But
would,
I feel like it was so little that they didn't have enough to do it broadly as they had hoped, I think.
yeah, because I would hear individuals say
Yeah.
they were offered to purchase a pre-owned bike. Like it was like Peloton wasn't advertising the CPO thing, but individuals were being given that offer,
I
right?
know Peloton employees as well. I don't know if it was non-employees that did that. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right, Hardy. It's like, yeah, if they had the CPO thing in place, like if that was working and running, and they had that all structured, and then you like threw this as another offering on top of what they offered to date, and you could kind of like pull from the CPO stuff to manage that too,
Right.
then I guess, I don't know. The monthly still throws me. I don't quite get who.
Right. Or maybe this could be something where they're like, okay, you do that for if you do have it for 5-6 years or whatever the time period, then you can buy it much cheaper. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that price thing what we talked about earlier, John. It just doesn't seem to be how much less is it going to be than the lowered price already for the brand new, or not the brand new bike, but the standard bike, because
right.
Right.
they've already lowered the price of it.
Yeah.
So how low can you bring the CPO bike? Like, is it $1,000? Is it $800? How
Right.
many people would buy it? And then chances are you'd want to get it. You'd absolutely want an extended warranty on it, and the warranty would probably be more expensive on
Right.
the CPO bike than it would be on the standard bike. So then it kind of starts to equate. Oh, maybe I should just get a new bike. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I got all the same questions. What's good,
Hey,
Marco?
John, what if they did it like, you know how AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, they're like, switch and we'll pay off your whatever. What if they do it like that, where it's like, come over, you stay with us X amount of years, we give you the bike, but if you decide to leave, you pay for the bike, kind of like, the cell phone companies do. Be like, here's your free iPhone, but if you leave, you're going to owe whatever is left over of it. But if you stay, you get a free bike after X amount of years. And now they start bringing people from other competitors.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I got to process that, but I guess you're right.
And isn't that interesting since they just did that deal with Verizon? An
Yeah,
interesting thought.
that is an interesting. That's a new one on me, Marcus. I hadn't even thought of that one. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. The Verizon thing still confuses me though. I want to ask you guys some questions about that, but let me do a quick room reset. So this is our weekly wellness check where we talk about the connected fitness industry, the fitness industry in general. We talk a lot about Peloton because most of us are Peloton members and owners, and anything else that we choose to talk about. It's meant to be kind of light conversation. No stress. And so if you want to join the conversation, just hit the hand in the lower right of your phone and come up on stage. If you don't, that's cool. Just hang out in the audience and listen. These sessions are recorded and they're free for playback on Clubhouse after they're over, and they're posted to podcast platforms as well. So they'll be available tomorrow if you want to listen. And if you miss anything or have to leave, you can do that as well. So the Verizon thing. So is that just simply, okay, here's where you manage all your fitness subscriptions, and the companies that were helping you consolidate into this one outlet can push some information to you for, deals and things like that. So you all get them through one portal, and that's about it? Is that what that is?
I don't know. I'm thoroughly confused by it. Like, do I get a discount? Because I'm already a Verizon customer. I already have Disney Plus too because of them. So, like, if I add my Peloton membership to it, is something going to decrease for me? Am I going to get a price saving somewhere? Because if not, then I don't give a crap.
That's where I was at. I didn't even see anything about cost or break or any type of discount. It just seemed like if you're Verizon, you can consolidate things into one place, and that's it, which kind of lost me. I don't know. It sounds like you guys didn't get get any more than I did. I'm sure there's a huge benefit here. Like I'm just a little confused. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But then I just thought it was interesting the way Carrie brought up being able to, the way it works if you had like a phone, and then if you keep it or whatever, it's a cheaper price. So I don't know. Like it would just be interesting if it tied in the same way your cell phones do.
Yeah. The whole concept that Marcos was talking about, that kind of blew my mind a little bit. I got to process that. That one, that's an interesting one. But relative to like subscription bill consolidation, if you're on the Verizon platform, I'm struggling to. Are they thinking people are going to switch mobile carriers so that they can consolidate their subscriptions? And I don't. Who would do that?
I mean, what's the benefit of doing that? Because like right now, yeah, my Disney Plus is with my Verizon. I don't know. My husband pays it, so honestly, I don't even know. But but like, what's the benefit? If you're not going to give me a price break, if you're not going to give me a discounted rate on something, who the hell cares that I can bundle them all in one package?
Help us out, Mike. What are we missing, Mike?
Well, that's what I'm kind of struggling with you there too, but I do think that I think it's kind of like almost like Apple TV has, but without their TV service, where you've got everything, maybe like you've got Netflix, you've got all these access things, but you actually make the purchases through them, like the App Store or something. And so it just gives one place is what it sounds like, but I don't see a whole lot of benefit to that except for, a little bit of convenience, and I don't know if it's just the mobile customers or if it's going to include Fios customers or both, or, so it'll be interesting to see as they explain it more.
Yeah, there might be other benefits to it that yeah, maybe we just haven't heard yet. But to date, I'm struggling. Why would I go, you know what, I'm on AT&T now, and I want to bundle all my subscriptions and get no discount from it. So I'm going to move to Verizon. Like, why would I do that?
Hey, John. Well, one of the things I've seen, and just based on commercials, but I think you don't pay extra. Like, for example, I'm with AT&T, but they're like, oh, if you, I'm like grandfathered into, you get 20 gigs a month or whatever. They're like, oh, move to unlimited, and we'll give you HBO Max on us, right? It's like included. So what
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking is Verizon is, I've seen them bundle Disney Plus and not an extra. It's not like you're paying Disney Plus to your Verizon. It's just included in your bill, so it's quote unquote free. So it's kind of like an extra benefit. So maybe they're giving the digital membership, the $12.99 or whatever it is, included, and then oh, you want the bike, then you pay the 40 or whatever, trying to get them like in the door.
Yeah. Now, if it was something like that, then yeah, that would at least give it a little more kind of a credence to benefit to me. Yeah, maybe. Well, I'll be interested to see how it plays out because right now I'm still a little confused, which isn't unusual. Erica says I'm confused all the time, so nothing new. Cool. The next topic I had on here is this Peloton Apparel, which, is just another thing. This is Confused John, right? I get an email that says Peloton just dropped some new stuff, right? And then I post it and everyone's telling me, John, that ain't new. So is the stuff new or is it not new?
I don't think it's new, John. I think that that's the same stuff from that released at the end of February.
The same stuff, right?
I think so. I think they've just added more photos because I feel almost certain that when it dropped on the 23rd, those leggings that uh, Christine has on, I was just like, oh, I like that color. I don't think I have navy blue. I did not buy them, but I don't remember that photo of her. I feel like it was on somebody else, but also I could be wrong because I cannot keep up with all of the drops.
So then after I got the email, then I was checking the Peloton Apparel Instagram site today, and then they started putting in their stories new arrivals. And so they're also saying this stuff is new, right? So now I was even more confused. But I agree with you. I feel like I've seen this stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just kind of they're trying to kind of repush that apparel that they delivered after the Tribe Called Quest stuff, and they're just kind of trying to reintroduce us to it, and that was their way to do it. Maybe that's what it is.
Or maybe they've had all of this stuff sort of in the pipeline and they're like, we just need to get this out here. Hopefully people will buy it at the full price. If they don't, we'll discount it pretty quickly, and then they can restart whatever they're going to do with apparel. I don't know what that plan is, but it just seems like there's just so much.
Well, when they did that big discount like a few weeks ago, I don't know. Now, when I see stuff drop, I'm thinking like you just said, I'm just gonna wait a little bit because that $85 shirt might turn out to be $20 in a minute. Now they got my expectations thinking they're about to drop stuff like all low at any second.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, who would pay? I mean, putting my own personal experience aside this week when I ordered a pink set and the two pinks didn't even match. The quality was so poor, but who would pay full price right now when you see how quickly they discount everything and there's still plenty of inventory? So it's not even, oh, I better go get my size because tomorrow it's going to be sold out. Like everything is still in stock, every size. There's no reason to pay full price for any of this right now.
Right. Kind of my thought too. Hey, I got a question. I guess it's probably more for the guys, I guess. So I played a lot of basketball coming up, and I'm prefacing this because I'm assuming this is why this is the case. But basketball shorts coming up through like the 90s after the Fab Five and into the 2000s tend to be like over the knee. They tend to be long. But so I'm kind of like the basketball kind of, that's been my thing. So I tend to buy shorts that tend to be a little longer, But so the shorts that you can buy from Peloton probably are standard length. But for me, they feel short. They always feel short.
That's the 90s coming out of you, John.
That's the 90s coming out, right? It's my 90s coming out. I think you're right.
That's true. It's funny you said that because I'm always like, damn, these shorts are too long because like they're like 7, 8, or 9 inches, and they've been doing more of like the 8 or 9. But my knees like get stuck in them when I bike. I'm like, I need 7-inch ones, and they're always like too long. That's why I like don't like most of their shorts. So it's funny you said that you like them long.
Oh, see, you're. I think Kari's right. This is my Fab Five, Jalen Rose coming out. This is my '92 coming out.
I
Yeah,
think too part of it is that Rad and Adrian like shorts.
yeah.
I'm like, dude, how you running those shorts?
I feel like I'm all exposed if I'm wearing these shorts. I feel like I'm out here just being all inappropriate, showing too much leg or something. I think I'm all '90s about it.
Well, those guys are on the 5-inch club. That's way too short.
Look, I'm like, even as a female, I'm like, those shorts are way too short. Like,
See,
I
They
would
do
be
have
pulling
leggings
them
on under them,
down.
though.
right? They put
Even with the
leggings on.
leggings, though, the fact that they ride up, like if you ever watch them, those shorts are riding, like their thighs are eating those shorts. And I'm like, that would annoy the hell out of me.
Okay,
I would be tugging on them nonstop.
are they wearing the leggings because they're like me and they're thinking this is a little too short, which is why they're putting the leggings on? That's what I want to know.
No.
No,
Mm-mm. No.
it's just me, Kari. It's just me. I'm just '90s coming out. Yeah, you're probably right. All right.
Listen, John, I'm with you because this past summer it was pretty funny. Everyone knows I have all boys, so my oldest is 27, and then I have 17, 13, and 10. And when I ordered the 17, 13, 10-year-old shorts, swim trunks for the summer, they were all short, and I was like, "Is this really the length of swim trunks that you want?" I was like, "Is this the right? Like, are these right?"
Right.
And they were like, "Yeah, this is what's in style." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm really old because these are short."
See, maybe I'm just out of touch. And that
We're
probably
just
is.
out of touch, John.
We
We're out
just
of
out of
touch.
touch. That's all it is. We just out of touch. And you know what? I stopped buying the shorts after a year or two ago. Once that just happened too many times. I'm like, so I just stopped. So for all I know, maybe they've gotten a little longer. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll try a pair and we'll see. Anyway, all right. I just had that question. That wasn't on the agenda. I just realized I've been thinking this for a while and wasn't sure if it was just me. So I'm thinking it's kind of just me, maybe not. I don't know. I'll go with that. All right. The next thing I had on here is the Jermaine Johnson Premier Strength class. And I didn't take it, so I can't really talk to it. But I'm wondering if anyone else did, and if they did, what did they think? No.
I took it. I liked it a lot. I one of the things that had always bugged me about Peloton and the strength, in addition to like not having sort of enough programs, is that I just always found the moves to be too fast and too complicated. I love Jess Sims and she's tough, but I just feel like I could just never get into any of the things in the way that she does them. And I know we all need to move at our own pace, but I found it to be really straightforward. I liked his pace. It's one of the things that I also really like about Ben Aldis as well. Just very straightforward. And he has a great playlist and a nice sense of humor. I really liked it. I want to do some more of his classes as they come out.
Well, that's cool. That's a good one. I mean, it sounds like yeah, you liked it. I might have to check it out. That's cool. Anybody else take it? No.
I saw Jamie come up. I don't know if that's what
Yep,
she was.
sorry, I had trouble getting off of mute. Yeah, I took the premiere and I really enjoyed it as well. I try to take all the premieres whenever I can.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking a lot about the conversation from last week when we were talking about strength instructors, and thinking, oh, I should bring this up this week to John and for him to tell Jasmine. And I guess now she's on. It seemed like like you said, he went slow. He was straightforward. I definitely liked him a lot. So.
Yeah. It seems like everyone who talks about Jermaine Johnson, they all tend to talk favorably of him, and so I was kind of expecting that this class would probably, do well. But yeah, it sounds like everyone really kind of liked it. That's really cool.
I
So
liked it as well, and I hate strength, and I need more of it, and I don't do enough of it because, like a lot of people are saying, like some go too fast, and I get lost, and I can't really modify, and I get frustrated. So then
yeah,
I don't do it. But he is one of the ones I think I'm gonna like because I like his runs a lot too. His energy is really good.
pace is like a common topic with regards to the strength training stuff. Like I know I talked about that last week. How that I struggle heavily with that pace piece to a lot of their strength training classes. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I hear you there, Judy. That hopefully, yeah, it sounds like his class was paced well and everyone kind of liked it. That's cool.
I didn't take his class, but the one thing I always say all the time is that if you actually listen to Jess, because obviously everyone knows I'm a big Jess fan, is that she'll tell you that you shouldn't be getting more than 8 to 10 reps. So regardless of how fast it appears that she's going in a class, if you're getting more than 8 to 10 reps, you need to increase your weight. So sometimes you have to just listen and ignore what you're seeing. Because, yeah, maybe it looks like she's getting 12 reps, or maybe she looks like she's getting 16 reps and she's like zipping through it. But if you listen to the cues that she's giving, she'll specifically say, if your weight's heavy enough, you shouldn't get more than 8 to 10. And that's, mostly her 30 minutes and definitely her 45-minute classes. So, but I'm going to try Jermaine too, because I like to try the different ones and see what everyone's teaching style is like.
I think I may need to try like a longer Jess class because I know even though she says that, like it's hard for me because if there are a lot of moves and I feel overwhelmed and then like the sexy transition that I can never do, like, so I think it's just the learning style. But I've never tried a long one because I'm too afraid because the short ones are like death and the boot camps are like death. So
First of all, her sexy transition she can throw out the window. I tell her all the time, like, kiss my ass, Jessica Robin Sims. I'm not doing your damn sexy transitions, but and that's Robin with a Y. But the longer classes I actually think are easier. They're way easier because they're
okay,
way less cardio focused and they're more
yeah,
straight strength focused. And she goes a lot slower and she expects you to lift a lot heavier. Same thing I always say. I've been saying this like for the last 3 weeks now. Same thing with Robin, but even Robin's 20-minute classes are a lot slower than Jess's 20-minute classes. So for straight strength training, I say definitely try Robin if you've only got 20 minutes. If you want to go longer, you want to try 30 or 45, then check out Jess because
yeah.
hers are more of a heavy lift than like the speed. They're not so much hit when you're doing that. But yeah, I don't go by her sexy transitions. Like, first of all, who can bend their legs and get up like that? Like the way she does. Like she sits like crisscross applesauce or whatever it's called these days to be politically correct. And she gets up. And I'm like, my legs don't go like that. Like, girl, bye. So I
Yeah,
get up
I like
however I
her. I
can.
love her runs. So I just gave up on her boot camps. Even like I'm just one of this, and I think it's great that we have so many options because I love her, but I can still take her for the runs and the hikes and stuff. But I'm like for strength, I'm like, you're killing me. So it's good that we have so many choices. And I am one of those that tries every instructor, even though now they're getting way too many, but I also will still try all of them at least twice a year.
The amount of people that we have to try for classes is incredible. And I feel like if
Yep.
someone can't find an instructor that they gel with or like their style on Peloton, then they just don't want to work out because there's so much
Yep.
variety from
Yep.
music to teaching style to everything that it's like if someone says there's not a single instructor on a Peloton platform that I like, then I'm like, dude, you just don't want to work out.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Or you didn't
You
look
really
hard
just don't
enough
want to work
because
out.
yeah. Yeah. I have
Or on the flip
because I
side,
say this.
you also know about a person when they tell you what instructor who's their favorite.
But like
So what are you
I
saying?
have so many favorites for different things and like different moods.
Just
Like
tell her.
I'm just like it's great that we have such variety.
It's awesome that we have variety, but I kind of feel like that was like a little bit of a dig, Carrie. What are you saying?
No, 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 no. Let me be clear. My wife says she takes all the classes you do, so it's all good, Danielle. I wasn't digging against you. Believe me, I would not make that statement.
All I know is I be watching Danielle's workouts and I be like, dang, ow, ow, ooh, dang. And then she takes Jess. To me, those two things align.
And she might post what she told Jess, or she's like, "Oh, don't blame me for that," and you know you're gonna die. So
Kind of piggybacking off of that, and I know you have it on the agenda later, because there's so many instructors and there's so many great content to choose from. I will never do 90 minutes consecutively with any one instructor. Like, it's not gonna happen. I'd have to really be in a certain mood. I'll do 90 minutes. I'll do a 90-minute run, but I'm stacking like 20 minutes with like each different person, because one, it goes by quicker, and number two, I don't want to be stuck with the same person for 90 minutes and hear the same damn stories.
Okay, before we get into that, I want to bring Courtney in. What's going on, Courtney? How you doing?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Two things. I did take Jermaine's premiere one because I live in the Chicago area, so it was at 6 a.m., which I love an early morning workout, and he was so good. It was structured. There were 3 sections. You could follow along with him. They were not so many compound movements, but effective movements. And then he opened with Aaliyah. So, I mean, as a 90s head, it was just minted gold for me.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's
And
nice.
then the second thing is I am up, I think I only have 13 of Jess Sims classes left of her 268 strength library. I don't know why I set that goal for myself, but I want to get through her whole library. And I think, Danielle, you may have the same goal as well. And what I've noticed is in her 30-minute classes, the first 15 minutes, or kind of the first either 5x3 or 6x3 circuit, is slower, more structured. And what I've realized after listening to her is she kind of speeds up or adds in more cardio towards the end for maybe more like afterburn after the workout. So just something to keep in mind. I would still give her a try. But as I'm learning more of her style, having taken so much of her classes, I think she's trying to really blend lifting and a little bit of that cardio that can come with like powerlifting, if you will, as kind of maybe her approach.
okay.
Courtney, that's amazing that you only have that few classes left. I believe I do have the same goal, and I think I have about 30 classes left across all
She
modalities.
keeps
So that
adding.
includes,
I'm like, take a
I
take a
know, I'm
day
so sick of
off. Like,
her. I'm
don't.
like, take an actual vacation.
But
I say the same thing
yes,
to her and Allie.
like, but don't go on vacation and then drop classes, because then I can't catch up. Like, go on vacation and don't drop
And take
anything
a
so
real
I can catch
vacation,
up.
right? Like a real vacation, like not a coach to camera vacation. Like take a real, I literally say this to her and Allie all the time, and Allie just laughs at me. So, and Jess rolls her eyes. So I'm like, no, no, no. Like, I need you to not film anything so that I can get done. And neither one of them seem to care. So I'm like, I'll finish one day or another.
I
But
think
yeah, I think I have like 30 of Jess left.
I think the goal that both you, Danielle, and you, Courtney, set is just phenomenal and incredible, and that is just a little crazy, because because Jess's classes are off the chain, but I think that's incredible. But you guys reminded me of something. This is for my daughter, Jazz, that's on stage. Jazz, I forgot to tell you, I think Jess Sims is at Mohegan Sun today and tomorrow. So I don't know if you wanted to go, but I just realized I never told you that.
Oh wow. Yeah, I would love to go. I mean,
So
you
we,
know I have a job, but I mean,
oh,
yeah,
right.
definitely.
Oh, that's right. You work. Okay. Anyway, but
But yes,
So Jazz, not only was he late in telling you that she was going to be there, because today is over, right?
right, right, right.
He
So,
forgot that you also work.
right. So
my bad. I
that's
mean,
all right though. So I mean, next time just give me some notice and maybe we can work that out.
okay. Don't worry about it, because Big East tournament will be back next year. So I mean, 2023. I guess.
Next
He's
year.
like, I
You
got
know
you
Okay.
what?
next year, Jazz.
I'm about
Don't sweat it. Next year, we're all good.
to
Rower 2023.
Oh my God, don't start. Don't mention the rower.
And I throw that on the agenda every week, even if we have nothing to talk about. I'll put the rower on the agenda.
But I think Emma's filming content for it, right? In Patagonia.
Wait a minute. Is she really, or are we joking?
I don't know. She was on.
I hope not, Emma. Listen, please not Emma.
Oh
She's like
man,
this smooth jazz DJ. I love her, but she's so chill and mellow. I can't have her on the rower. Like
Emma be
I
coming
need
up with some playlists of. I thought I know all kind of stuff. She'll come up with some playlists of some songs. I don't. Where'd she get that? I don't know where some of these songs come from. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're jamming, but she can come up with
her
some new stuff.
her playlist is definitely amusing, but she's so chill. Like I need that kind of like in your face Robin
Okay,
energy. Like
okay.
I can't have Emma on the
Can't
rower.
have Emma on the rover, or it ain't gonna work.
I
She
can't
was
have
on the
Emma on the
water.
rower.
She
Huh?
was on the water and she was in a boat. Like
Oh
she was
Jesus.
paddling.
See,
Bye, Carrie. Get off the stage. How can I demote him? Where's your wife at?
I'm right here.
See, me and her on the same page because she likes Jess the way I like Jess. Go lock him in a corner somewhere.
all right, I got the next topic, but I don't know. We might not talk about it long because I don't even know who this person is. So there's a new artist series, Labyrinth. Are you guys familiar with Labyrinth? I was all lost. I felt like I was just all out of the loop.
Nope, I couldn't even tell you what genre of music it is.
Okay, then it's not just me. Okay,
And is it new or is it a repeat? Because they did him before.
Right.
So I wasn't sure if they were just kind of promoting what they had already done or if they did a whole new series. Okay, first of all, I still don't know who he is. I didn't take any of his classes the first time around. I'm not taking them the second time around. But I was like, did they film new classes with his music or are they just saying, hey, here's another artist series you can take?
oh, that's a good question. I don't
He's
know.
a
Maybe.
UK singer songwriter,
Okay.
and Hannah did it. I think it was last year. But what I have been noticing, like on the app, is that they are pushing out some of the older artist series. Maybe because we have like as newer subscribers come, they don't realize like they're making a request for things, not maybe understanding or realizing that they've already done that in the library. So they're like bringing some things forward. That's just like what I noticed. Kind of even in Robin's post, like Women's History Month, she posted like all the women's like artist series rise that she's done. So I feel like I've been seeing more of a trend of that is them trying to say, hey, we've already done this person. Let's pull it forward.
That's
And
a
I
perfect.
think Jocelyn did a walk with Labyrinth last year when Hannah did the ride. I didn't know of him either, but it was pretty good.
That is a. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Megan.
Oh, I was going to say, I had wondered if it was now popular because Labyrinth did the score for Euphoria, which is super popular now.
I saw someone say that. That's right. Okay, maybe they're whether they're bringing it back or they're recording new classes. Either way, yeah, that may explain why we're seeing that now. That makes sense. I think that's a perfect segue into the Women's History Month classes. I was looking at our schedule. This was a few days ago, and I noticed that a lot of the Women's History Month classes that they had on the schedule were like encores from Women's History Month classes last year, right? And so it was as if they were kind of just like repurposing those things to start the month. But then I noticed that then some classes kick in. One being a new class, Alive with Hannah and Leanne, a 2-for-1 ride. I can't remember the date of that class though.
It's
I think
It's
it's
tomorrow.
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
It's
8 a.m. tomorrow.
8 a.m.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh,
But I feel like they did the same thing with Black History Month, didn't they, Dad?
Yep.
They didn't do a live class until like the first like after the first week.
Yep.
you're right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. We saw encores there too. That's right. I forgot
I'm
about.
wondering what is going on. Like their Black History Month this year was minuscule compared to what they did last year.
Yeah,
And I kind of get the feeling that Women's History Month is going to be the same way.
it's like they toned down all that stuff. I think I don't know what that is. Maybe that's intentional because um, of what the state of the company, maybe, or maybe they thought they just took things too far with all of the different. Topics, I don't know, but yeah, I agree. I feel like it's probably going to be similar with Women's History Month. I agree with you. Black History Month, you didn't see the instructors talking about it as much as in the past. I mean, the small percentage, it wasn't nearly the same. Yeah, but I kind of see it as kind of a broader kind of Peloton thing, as if they're just not putting as much emphasis on things like this anymore.
Well,
And I feel
I
like
mean, I was just gonna say part of it. I felt like they kind of got. If you ever check into the OPP, I feel like they kind of got a lot of like backfire backlash from Black History Month last year. Same thing with Juneteenth. Like I feel like they got a lot of flack from a lot of people. So then it makes me wonder, did they scale back because they got so much pushback from the people who were not fond of the direction that Peloton was taking?
I can believe that. I mean, the country is so separate and partisan, and these topics tend to like cross lines often. And last year and the year prior, we were in the midst of a lot of that, and that would kind of make sense to me. Like maybe they got hit with too many complaints, and specifically from like a instructor perspective. Like I see the instructors as like their own kind of individual entity, and if they're trying to build their own kind of celebrity so that they can persist it outside of Peloton and gather other deals. And if you're here promoting heavy something that causes angst to the community that's supporting you, like I guess I could see them not wanting to be so visible with stuff like that.
I kind of feel like it's not the instructors though. Like I feel like it's more coming from the top down than from them. I mean, that's just my perception from the ones that from the instructors that I've interacted with, but I kind of feel like the ones that I have interactions with are pretty strong in their stances and what they, how they feel.
Yep.
So it kind of feels like it's not their directive. It feels like it's something that they've been given. But again, that's just my perception.
I think you're probably right. I agree with that. Go ahead, Courtney.
I took it as maybe them being more focused and kind of paring things down is just kind of how I interpret it from last year to this year. Also, maybe giving the content team a little bit of a reprieve that they have such this rich catalog of things that maybe they don't have to put out new stuff if they have 5 things that they can pull forward. So I just thought it was just maybe a healthy strategy to refocus rather than doing 10 things, just focus on trying to do 2 or 3 things well.
I like that term. I like that way you put that. Like just an emphasis on just refocusing. Like I think I agree with both of you guys. I agree with you as well, that statement, Courtney, and I agree with you as well, Danielle, that it probably isn't the individual. You're right. I have I got to think through that and kind of probably contradicting what I originally said. Like, I hear you. I think you're probably right. It's something more broad. It's probably coming down from the top down. And to your point, Courtney, I agree with that as well. It probably from a sense of we need to refocus. That would make sense to me, especially considering the challenges that they were facing late last year. It was just like one thing after another, and then going into the new year, more challenges. That makes sense to me.
I just think from a company standpoint, they took such a loud stance the year before
Oh yeah,
when it comes to all those kinds of things. And I think they probably felt a lot of backlash from it. Like I think they really stood their ground and like, this is what we're for, this is what we're against. And I think a lot of people were like, shut up and just worry about working out. Stop worrying about the social injustices and the racial injustices that are happening in the world and focus on working out. And how they responded to that was kind of like, we're going to try and toe the line on both sides. We're going to give you some, but we're going to pull back and not quite be as vocal. But again, just my perception.
we kind of saw that in the OPMP, right? And we saw that in Run Lift and Live group as well. Like you saw those people, a lot of folks that would come out with that kind of position on it. Like I didn't particularly agree with it. Like I was like cheering all crazy when Peloton was all heavy because you know me, I'm like all into the equity stuff. So I was all cheering from the rafters. But I saw all the complaints. You saw them, right? It was like, so I hear you. That I'm sure that may have been, and I don't know how to like, I don't even know how to, look at some of the instructors that at one point were very like vocal. And then this year they're very quiet when you look at their IGs, and you don't see that stuff anymore. It all went away. They were like all out there every other day last year. And then this year during Black History Month, it was like crickets. But I don't know how, I didn't know how to like, you know, challenge that because they work for a company that likely was giving them a directive, number one. Two, that's their livelihood, right? And like, I don't have that constraint. So yeah, I didn't know how to like look at it in any other way than that, you know.
I think a good one to look at though is Allie because she does have her own company that's separate than Peloton. And they did not, in my opinion, they did not scale back from what they were saying the year previous. So I think whereas maybe her affiliated Peloton page was not necessarily as vocal as it was before, I think her business page was
Right,
just as vocal as the year before. But she's the only one that has a whole separate business.
right.
Everyone else is not there. Like, she came into Peloton with a business and was able to continue keeping her business separate from Peloton and stuff like that. So I think she's a good example of someone who was able to do both. Do what they wanted, but also do what she wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember as it was happening, my mind is always about your foundational character. Like, who are you? Like, if you said this, then that's who you are. Like, that's my historic kind of position around it. But I had to like loosen that up. I was like, these people are, they're in their 20s and 30s, these instructors, and this company is new and they're going through all these challenges and that's their livelihood. And I had to like back off of my, I was like hard and fast. Like, they said they're this, then that's who they are. So I don't back down now. But then I had to let that go.
Hey,
I was
John.
right there with you.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up a good point. I was also thinking about this from the standpoint of just corporate America in general. Like, there's been I feel like there's been not a lot of pullback, but I think there's been some pullback, and I'm curious how it will be in 5 years.
Right.
Right. I think it's something for all of us to think about when it comes to these types of concerns and issues, because that's how it's all spun up in the first place.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. It's probably, I think it's a broader thing. I agree. It's probably beyond just Peloton. And so, yeah, what will that look like a few years from now? Yeah, it's a good point. All right. Well, I think I can get through two more items. So I'm gonna jump into which one? What's next? I'm gonna skip over like I'll ask about it. Did you guys see the post? Okay, so first Crystal posted about it yesterday. Then this morning I saw like Business Law posted about this. Basically, that Peloton had won through the courts. I guess it went through like the court tribunal, and the tribunal agreed that Peloton's leaderboard patent was innovative. It was theirs. Although Echelon was trying to say no, that shouldn't be theirs. That's more generic. But Peloton won. So now that they won, now I'm like, well, what does that mean for iFit products and Echelon products that all have leaderboards? Like, what happens now? Do they all have to like license that from Peloton? Can Peloton stop them from selling? Do they have to change their software? Like, what happened? I don't know what this means. Like, what happens now?
Lisa just mentioned Flywheel, and they had a lawsuit against them back a while ago, and they actually pulled off their platform as well.
I can't remember if it was leaderboard related or not, but I feel like the leaderboard had something to do with it.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that, but so I know Echelon and iFit subsequently have been fighting this thing in the courts now for like a few years on this same topic of leaderboard. But based on what I read today and based on what, Crystal posted like an internal letter. It was like a letter that John Foley sent out yesterday to the internal employees. I guess it's a whole nother topic. Like, why isn't Barry sending out that letter? But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So John Foley sends the letter to the employees basically saying, okay, we won this. The courts have, solidified that that is our innovation. That's us. The leaderboard is us. So, these folks are going to have to, do something about this. So to me, this is kind of like a big deal. Like, what now? Like, what is all these, the iFits and the Echelons of the world, they got numerous products that all have leaderboards. Like, what does this mean?
So does that mean people have to pay them? Like when you use like copyrighted music or material, like every time you use it, you have to pay the person that it belongs to?
I think they'll have to either pull it out of their software or somehow come to some agreement with Peloton to pay a fee for it. That's what I think, but I don't know. I think it's a bigger deal it's bigger news than it's really been advertised, but that's what I think. One of the two.
Usually what happens in these instances, actually there's one of three things. One, they can go into a coexistence agreement whereby Echelon or whomever would pay a fee, as you said, John, to Peloton for the use of their IP. Two, they would have to remove it or do some sort of licensing deal. That's usually what happens when a trademark is infringed.
Yeah.
And do they have to back pay, Gail? Do you know? So like for all the equipment that they've already put out there, for all the years that they've already been using it, is there like a back payment that's like, yeah, you've been using this for 3 years with, 200,000 people, you owe us X amount of dollars?
Well, John may know or you may know in terms of what the actual lawsuit was. If the trademark infringement suit listed that in there. And if they win that, then yes, they would have to back pay if the court rules that they were infringing.
Yeah, I don't know
Wow.
that level. There were details like that in there, Daniel. I just don't remember the specific. Like I have to go back and read that, and I don't know that. I'm not sure if I'm not clear with the inner workings of it. I just know that ruling happened, that it is Peloton's IP now. How they then, if the courts have to do something beyond that to say, okay, here's the punitive kind of damages to it, or here's what you have to then pay because of it. That piece I'm not all that familiar with. I don't know what happens next. But yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question as well. It also makes me wonder, could Peloton, maybe this isn't even viable, could they just be like hard ass about it and just go, no, we don't want any agreement from you. Like, you just don't use that anymore. You got to stop. Which would mean like all of those products, like they'd have to pull the leaderboard off of all of that stuff.
Wouldn't Peloton make more money though if they charge them for using it than just saying no, forget it? Like,
Yeah,
it almost seems like that would be like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Like, it's like, yeah, okay, no, you can't use it. Now you have to pull all that equipment back and, pull the leaderboard off of everything you've already used it on versus saying, okay, cool, we'll let you use it, but you owe us $20 per usage or some, whatever, some ridiculous number. It
yeah,
seems like it would serve them better to charge them for using it.
Although it's not the
Just
same, look at it's kind of not the same. But when you look at the publishing issues that Peloton had, the end result was they had to pay moving forward publishers and record companies to use the music. But there was also something they had to pay for past usage.
right.
So, Danielle, I think you're right. It probably makes a lot more sense for them to be collecting money from these people moving forward and do some sort of coexistence agreement.
only reason I was suggesting the latter, the former, is we know iFit is having all these financial issues now, and they got a lender who's taking them to court for like $300 million, and they got all these issues. Like, do you have an avenue to kind of just like kill one of your competitors if you just go no, right?
Do they care that much though? Like, do they even see them as that much of a competitor that they need to completely squash them?
I don't know. They got like they claim they got 7 million members. iFit, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the numbers. I'm just throwing things out there. Like, I have no idea what the actual
But
numbers
I
are. But
hear
I'm
you.
like,
Yeah, maybe they don't. Like maybe
it's
they.
kind of like when you look at Apple. Like, does Apple need to squash everybody, or they're just like, whatever? You don't really matter in the grand scheme of things because you're so small
Yeah,
in comparison to us. Do we really need to squash you, or would it just be better to collect money from you every month because you're using something that's proprietary ours?
probably. You're probably right. I mean, it's similar to like what ended up happening with Flywheel, right? In the end, they all got like a deal to like move their membership to Peloton. I don't remember all the whole inner workings of that deal, but then Peloton got all these new members because they all moved from Flywheel to Peloton. Like, this to me is kind of similar. It's like in that you're right. Like, if they just had to license it, Peloton essentially all of a sudden gets what's the equivalent of like a membership fee, per member all of a sudden, right? Because of all these people that have bikes that have leaderboards on it. Like, you're right. Maybe it would make more sense for them to just charge them. But I don't know. It's some interesting stuff. It's wild. I was really excited to hear that they kind of won that. I think it's a bigger story than you're seeing out there on the internet. That was wild.
It
I
is
think
a
it's
bigger
huge
story.
for moving forward, though. Like, I think it's a huge deal for moving forward. Because what do they do moving forward?
Right. Yeah, like what I mean, and the ruling was based on the challenge Echelon was bringing against Peloton, and so the courts upheld that no, that that's right, that's Peloton. So I'm just assuming that now that impacts iFit, right? Like, it seems to me like it would, but yeah, I think it's a pretty big story. We'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll hear more next week because this is all kind of happened Friday after, sometime Friday and then into Saturday. So maybe Monday, Tuesday we start hearing more about this. We'll see. And then, okay, so I'm gonna ask about this parody, Tammy. So
Hey, John, wait, before we move on, I think Carrie wanted to say something. I kind of interrupted him.
oh, go ahead, Kari. My bad.
Oh, no. I was agreeing with how big this that lawsuit is going to be. I really believe that's going to make that's going to move some waves. And if you think about Flywheel, they're no longer.
Right. That shut them down. When this happened, a similar kind of scenario happened with Peloton and Flywheel back then. So that's why, to me, it's like, this could be a big deal. Like, where's the news on this? This is crazy. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see next week. Again, this kind of all happened Friday now into Saturday. So maybe that's why we're not hearing much, but we'll see what happens next week. So yeah, I was going to bring up the parody only because I questioned myself when okay, let me back up so everyone here has the backstory. So I made a parody 2 years ago, and it was Chase Tucker had just, it probably was 3 years ago. Anyways, Chase Tucker had just come into the Peloton world, and he was doing tread stuff, and I made this parody that basically had me taking a Chase Tucker class, and it was so amazing, and he was so tough. I come out of the room, I can barely breathe, and I start trying to determine, why are these instructors so amazing? What makes them so amazing? And so I think back in time, and then the parody is like John Foley finding Morgan Freeman in the movie Lean on Me, who's Mr. Clark, convincing him to go train all of his instructors. So then I have Peloton looking like East Side High, and Mr. Clark comes in and he's just talking all this mad crap to all the instructors about what they need to do and how they need to stop talking, and he's the boss and this is what we're going to do and all that. So that was the parody. So I posted it 3 years ago. Everybody kind of laughed. That was it. We never really talked about it again. Until now, Barry McCarthy comes in. And every time someone interviews Barry McCarthy, he is like hard-nosed, just talking, smack, it feels like. He's like really like direct. And when I saw that, I was like, man, that aligns to the end of that parody where Mr. Clark is just all direct to all the instructors talking all this smack. So I just clipped the end of that parody and posted it a few places, basically saying, Barry McCarthy coming in, his first meeting. That was the gist of the post. And so posted it a few places. We all kind of laughed. I started thinking, I was like, maybe I shouldn't post that in the OPMP because it could look like I'm kind of being negative against Peloton. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. I'm not sure. So I second guessed it. But then I eventually just posted it in the OPMP. They quickly denied it. They were like, they was like, no, we ain't letting that through. And so I felt bad for even attempting. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that anyway. Then I'm talking to the Crystal and Tom, and they're like, what? They're being a little too sensitive. They should have let you post that. So now I want your guys' opinion. Like, was I being a little too harsh?
It was probably posted from 3 years ago anyway, the first time around. Like, it was funny
Right?
then. It was funny now. Like, I get it. The re-release was for a different take and a different reason, but I thought it was hilarious both times.
I totally agree with Tammy. Like, it was hilarious. I laughed nonstop. And here's my here's my thing is that some of the things that they allow to be posted in that page versus that, I don't get it. Like you approve that post, but you won't approve this one?
Right.
Like, someone make it make sense for me, please, because the math is not mathing. Like, I don't get it.
It doesn't make sense at all. But I also wondered, John, so Peloton has changed, like the subscriber base has changed so drastically in 3 years that maybe, well, not maybe, I mean, there were probably far fewer people in the OPMP at that time. And I think it's like different sensibilities. And I think that also too, people probably just had no frame of reference for it. And after all of the backlash for everything, for every holiday celebrated, for everything, that they have just lost any sort of sense of humor, I guess.
Yeah,
And
you're
I was just gonna say,
right.
I just don't.
Like the sense, like how sensitive they that may be different than a few years ago. And also a few years ago, it was like everything was all good. Everything was going up. Everything was excitement. There was no bad press. There was no negative energy like that. The OPMP was getting a little messy, but it wasn't nearly like it is now. Like, you're right. It was like a different time. So I don't know.
And I think
I'm
too,
just gonna. I'm just
go
gonna
ahead,
say,
Danielle.
if you're gonna scrutinize one thing, then you need to scrutinize everything. That's my only problem with it. Like, I don't have a problem with them denying it, but my problem is that you don't deny other crap that is far worse. So if you're gonna look at that with a fine tooth comb, then you need to look at everything with the same exact comb. Like, you need to have that level of detail to every other post that you approve, and they don't. Like, they need to be consistent in what they approve and what they don't approve.
Yeah.
And I think the tone of the remix of the parody, it probably would have gone over most people's heads. I mean, I feel like we know what's going on. We come together weekly. We discuss it. We know who Barry McCarthy is, John Foley is. But like your average Peloton member who occasionally gets on the bike, they probably don't know what the tone of that parody was about, but they would have had a good laugh at your, imitations of the different instructors and nailing Jess's face down and Maddie. Like, I mean, that's what they would have saw and enjoyed it. I bet you only a small fraction of the millions of people on that page would have understood it completely.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You were going to say, Judy? You there, Judy? What you going to say? All right.
Sorry, I muted myself. I was gonna say I think it was just one person, whoever approves, that kind of got scared, but I think it would have been harmless and acceptable to most people. I don't think it's like a firm wide. So many people would have disapproved of this. I think it was just one of those, like, somebody was like, "Oh, I don't want to be responsible for having allowed this to go through," and
Right. Yeah.
I think they might have laughed about it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I kind of took it
Loved
as,
it.
oh, I appreciate it. I kind of took it as there may have been there's like a greater sensitivity now. And so even if it's, not intended to be malice, anything that might generate something, whoever was responsible for approving at that time just didn't want
Yep.
to be responsible for that if it turned that way. So they said no. But all right, well, it's good to hear you guys' perspective. Yeah, I questioned it right up front, and then I went, I'll try it anyway. And then they denied it. I was like, damn, I should
Yeah,
have.
John, I think it's kind of the same thing that I did with, well, not nearly as well as you did, but I did a little joke thing with tonal where I had posted, because I'm waiting for my tonal and I've got the setup all done, and had to build out the stud walls, and I went to post on their main page, picture of that, and said, looks like something's missing here, and I said, you know waiting is the hardest part, said the guy who's never done whose class, and stuff. And so I was just trying to be funny and stir up some conversation like I do with Peloton
Right,
sites, and that was denied. And they said, we're glad that you're in the community, but we don't allow anything about the delays in the bike. And if you've got concerns about that, go to this page. And I'm like, wow, I
right,
thought it was just a funny thing, but I guess there's just hypersensitivity about it. And they do, I guess, monitor their page, unlike the OPP, about everything, I think. So, but I kind of was feeling a little bit like my hand slapped for trying to be funny and stuff, and then I see other people posting things that sometimes are negative about them and stuff, but I guess it's not about the weight, and so and they let that go through. So I hear you, and I think that it was probably just Peloton being hypersensitive right now, given everything that's happened recently in the press and so forth. And
Hey, John, I don't know if Kenny Banya's stuff gets through on the OPP page. I don't think it does.
yeah, you're probably right. It's probably I don't know that I've ever seen any of his stuff on the OPMP. I don't know if it's because he hasn't tried or just because they just deny it. But hey, I don't think I ever see that stuff out there.
Yeah, because
I don't think I've seen it
okay,
either.
that's what I was thinking. I mean, I know he does a lot of funny content, and I love it. And of
Right.
course, we love yours, John. Like for years, you've been doing this stuff, but I don't think the OPP page goes in that direction at all. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you, and that's kind of how the same as you mentioned, Mike, about your parody with regards to tonal. I felt the exact same way. I was like, oh, I got my hand slapped. I probably should have never tried it. I felt a very similar way. But yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Carter. Yeah, I think that's just, at least now. I think there's a hypersensitivity. I think that's just not something that they're dealing with. So
Now, Kari has me curious if John ever posts his stuff over there, or if
yeah,
he only posts on IG or TikTok.
right. Yeah, if he's ever attempted and then got denied and then just, I ain't doing that no more. That makes you wonder. Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, I got through a lot of topics. I mean, I don't know, Tammy. I mean, I didn't get through a good 4 or 5 of them, but
Well, you've only been had the agenda up since Tuesday.
And I still stand by TLDR, too long, did not read. I don't even know what the hell was on that damn agenda because it was so freaking long.
I know there's a lot of stuff on there, Yeah, I'm gonna have to carry some of these over into next week, you
Why?
know?
Why carry them
Didn't you say
over?
that last
You're,
week or the week before?
you're going to have
I
12
think
new
I did.
agenda items. Okay, you're going to have 11 new agenda items because the 12th one is always going to be the rower. But
That's right.
you're going to have 11 new agenda items without carrying anything over. I don't think you need to carry anything over.
Oh, wait, hold up. There's one we don't have to carry over because I can get your thoughts on this right now. Anybody doing that 90-minute Christine D'Ercole ride?
I already expressed my
No.
my feelings on the matter.
Hard
No,
pass.
John.
No.
No?
Nope.
Nobody's doing it?
I
Nope.
feel like I need your full
Nope.
government name to
I
respond to
plan to
this.
be on it.
I could be convinced to be on it, but I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. That sounds tough.
I plan to be on it, but I've done most of the 90-minute PZ rides. So,
Yeah?
yeah, yeah.
I've done one 90-minute ride, and that was like 5 years ago. So I don't know.
I don't know that I've ever done a 90-minute. I think the longest ride I ever did was the Bad Girls ride with Robin and Jess King. And I think that was like 70 minutes or 75 minutes or something, and it's since been purged. So I don't think I've ever done anything longer than that. And I definitely don't know that I could do 90 minutes with Christine. She generally is not, she doesn't have my music taste in her wheelhouse. So
So is
I'm
this
a,
just like a one-off thing, or are they starting to add longer rides, or just no? Is this just a one-off kind of deal?
No, I think they've been doing that. Like I think I posted, they've done, I looked back at last year's and they had, I think 10, 75 or 90-minute rides. So it's always the PZ rides and usually about one a month that they do.
Yeah,
Okay.
The
I
long
feel like
ones. So
every
yeah.
time they're getting ready to kick off a Power Zone challenge, you see one of these come out.
Okay. Because I
and
know
I
that.
think I was gonna say, I just think in general they're just incorporating more live rides that's been going on over the last couple months. Because I think I DM'd you, John. I was like, oh my God, look, there's so many live rides. And I was like, never mind. Crystal told me it's been like that for the last couple weeks.
Right.
I thought I was like seeing something new. Like, oh crap, there's all these live rides. But maybe it's just like a progression that's been gradually happening. So including this new 90-minute ride.
Yeah. You gonna say, Megan?
Oh, I was thinking about your agenda. I felt like you had forgotten one thing, but I didn't want to say anything because your agenda was already so long.
Hush
But
it, Megan. Kick her off the
I
stage. Let me
know,
kick you off the stage. Where's the button to
no,
demote you?
but this might appeal to someone who is a walker. The new hiking boot camps with Rebecca Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
So instead of just it's the tread boot camp, but it's walking instead of running. So I was like, oh, John didn't mention that, but I'm not going to say anything.
Oh yeah, no, we talked about it briefly in the very beginning,
Oh,
like
I
in the intro, but only briefly because I just asked Jasmine if she did it. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Jasmine loves those. Oh, she loves Rebecca, and she loves the walking boot camp stuff. Yeah, she did one, and she got all hyped about it, and he's all excited about that.
I heard it got great reviews from a lot of people. Like they really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, Jazz one of them. So yeah, that's some good stuff.
Listen, it's hard. Walking at 15%. I think I'd rather sprint.
Yeah, Rebecca puts up these crazy, ridiculous inclines. I know Jasmine likes that stuff, but not me.
Rebecca puts up some crazy, ridiculous moves in general. Like not even just the inclines, but if you ever watch her, you're like, oh yeah, you're a gymnast and you're insane.
All right, don't
So
get on my girl. I let you talk about Jess, and I
no,
didn't
no, no,
chime in.
no, no, no. They're insane, just in different ways. No different. Jess is insane. Rebecca's insane. No difference. just in different modalities. That's all. Like
Well, you and I were supposed to be on the same team and teaming up against John. We can't be fighting.
we're not. I did listen. I did a Rebecca abs today when I was traveling at the hotel. I did an abs class. She still is insane. It doesn't matter. I love you, Tammy, but she's crazy.
I love Rebecca. Rebecca's awesome. She's always been very nice to me. Always been consistent. I was following her long before she was on Peloton too, and I used to be trying to figure out how to do all those weird like upside down moves she does and all that. I don't know if she does all that stuff as much anymore now that she's with Peloton, but she used to try.
She still does some crazy stuff.
She does,
And
right?
I'm like, girl, my body don't move like that. I love you, but my body ain't doing that.
So then when she came to Peloton, I told y'all, me and Erica flew out to Vegas to see the drop of the tread, and Rebecca was a part of the announcement, and so I got to hang out with her for a minute. Like I was already like a fan of hers, but she wasn't even with Peloton yet. So that was cool. And ever since then, me and her have been cool. But I love Rebecca.
If anyone's ever looking for any standing core classes, though, which is what I did today because I didn't want to lay on the floor at the hotel gym, but she has the best standing core classes. She might be the only one that does full on standing core classes. And I'm not really sure how you can
I have. If anyone
search
needs
for them.
them, you can find me. I have bookmarked on her page. I can screenshot them over.
Oh, perfect. Because they're awesome. I've done a bunch of them. And like I said, I did one today after I was done running because I didn't want to lay on the floor at the hotel. But they're great. Like they're really effective. You really feel them and you don't have to lay down. So if you have like any kind of like back issues or something, or maybe something just isn't comfortable, or maybe you're traveling like me and you don't want to lay on the floor at a dirty hotel, her standing core classes are incredible.
Yeah, I do them at work, like just as like to get up and move around.
I didn't even know anything about that. That sounds really cool. I'll check that out.
If
Yeah.
anyone's in the hardcore group, go check on the files section. They have a whole PDF of all the standing core classes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in that group. That's cool. Hey, let me bring Dan in. What's going on, Dan?
John, how are you? I hadn't seen you on in the last couple of weeks, and the wheels were coming off the bike with John Foley, and I came to talk. Oh, sorry. I came to talk to the group, and I don't know if I missed you or you moved to a different time, but I was yelling, "Where's John and Tammy and Danielle and crew?" as the company Peloton falls apart. So I hadn't seen you in weeks. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm hearing a nice civil discourse. I will spend 11 seconds or 15 seconds on the business. As I mentioned a long time ago, I think they're carrying, sorry to go into this, I'll talk about classes after it. I'll just
Oh,
get
no,
this
you're
off.
right. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was like 2 months ago that I said they must be sitting on a ton of inventory and they stopped production in Ohio. And, I just still think their marketing is horrible, but it's unbelievable that their Christmas specials were for Christmas, but they just continued them. And whatever it is now, I saw like $1,000 today over 3 bikes for hardware. They're just doing anything they can to discount it. As I said, I meant to write an article for the New York Times that was just called The WeWork of Fitness. It's just a very similar thing, and I think someone will write the book on it, and it's fascinating to watch. I don't have a lot of confidence in the new CEO and his direction, but it is what it is. I do feel bad for the people who lost their jobs in the process. So that's my quick, not so eloquent take on business. Everyone's having a nice discussion about classes, so I have more to say on the business, but I won't. On the classes, I have to say that I did Alex's Ride to Greatness series that I'd never done before. And I have a quick funny story, but I thought it was great. I really, really enjoyed it. It was fun to pick a team on Team Validate. I think I was Team Validate, and it was just a lot of fun. It was something I rushed home from work for on Thursdays, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't even know it was only 20 minutes. I thought it was a half hour, and I loved the team captains. And I was surprised. I don't think this got a lot of play, but I think this group will get a kick out of this. I'm sure you're all very familiar with the concept, but each week there is 2 teams against each other, and there's honorary captains. And on one Thursday night, one of the honorary captains was Seth Curry, who's an NBA basketball player for the Sixers. And that afternoon, he got traded to the Nets.
Right.
So I went on at night and he showed, Seth Curry showed. So it was amazing. He'd been traded like 2 hours earlier. Or maybe he went into the New York studio on his way to Brooklyn. But I did think it was really funny. I was actually on an NBA room that night at Clubhouse and the guys were cracking up. So maybe he rode his bike from Philly to Brooklyn. I don't know. But yeah, it's just kind of a funny story. He got traded in the 2 hours that he was going on Peloton. So,
Yeah,
so that's it.
I didn't
That's it.
hear a lot of people talk to that, but it was funny. While the class was going, I was thinking the exact same thing. It's like he gets traded before this event, and now he's in another city, but he's of course honoring like his deal with Peloton, I guess. But I was thinking the same thing. I've heard a lot of people mention it. But to your point earlier about the company, yeah, we talked about that earlier in the Clubhouse about. Well, I did. I kind of mentioned, and I wasn't sure if it was like blasphemy. I was like, is how much do we believe in where Barry McCarthy is kind of taking the company? Like we know he did some great things as a CFO in other places, but we also know he was a big kind of Peloton fanatic, just like we were looking at the content. And he's kind of coming in. It feels like, is that like armchair quarterbacking that he's coming in to kind of the guy who thinks he can fix it based on what he's seeing as a fanatic, but can he? Like I don't know if that's blasphemy.
Well,
That
I
was
always feel, I love this room, and I love our fans of the rower and all the fun. It's a great Saturday night when I don't have my daughter and I'm burning food in my kitchen. It's fun to listen to the group. I know it's sort of divided sometimes, not divided, but sometimes the agenda you have is on classes and fun, and sometimes on the business. But to your point, the stuff I've seen from McCarthy, one is I've been kind of surprised that he's been out front so far so soon on his thoughts,
yeah.
because thoughts can tip markets. So one of the things he said was that he thought Peloton could be an app store and a digital platform, and almost like the hardware is not important, that it could turn into an app store where they could host other fitness apps on
Yeah.
their platform, which it just seemed kind of early to sort of throw that out. I am not a fan of Lane Breaker. I'm sure you've all talked about it. I think it's very polarizing. I'm not quite sure. So there's been a lot of debate about whether he's the right guy, but I think, we'll wait and see. I'm still super critical in social media and so forth, other marketing, for good reason. And I think that's the first thing they have to do is really, I don't know if they replace their CMO as part of the shedding, but I think they just have a lot of work to do. They just have a lot of work to do, but I don't know if he's the right guy or not coming from the finance side. My experience when you put a finance person in there is you really need some good operators and really need strong marketing people, because if you become a bean counter, then you lose what brand is all about. And that's where I think they have the opportunity. But that's my quick insight into the marketplace. But yeah, Alex was a lot of fun. I had never really done a lot of classes with him, and I'm going to try to do an hour ride tomorrow. I couldn't get up and do Matt Wilper's Power Zone today. I don't do an hour a lot, but I'm going to look forward to maybe Jen Sherman or someone tomorrow morning. So let me pass the weights or the red knob over to someone else. But it's great. I'm so happy you guys are here tonight. I'm going to put you on mute and burn my dinner.
No, that's cool. You kind of great segue into I guess we can get this last topic in, and probably the first time we ever completed all topics. And that is everybody's getting these $300 discount codes now for the bike and the tread. I guess it doesn't include something. I don't think it includes the bike plus. I don't remember, but maybe it does. But everybody's getting these $300 discount codes now that you can give to a friend, and then they'll get $300 off of a new purchase of Peloton hardware. When I saw that, I thought, wow, another thing to try to figure out. It's only good between, I think, March 1st and March 22nd. So my initial thought was, is this like a late blast to try to figure out how to get more bikes delivered before they have to end fiscal Q3 for reporting? Or does this suggest that maybe numbers aren't as great and they're like pressing for ideas how to get more bikes purchased and delivered? I don't know what that is, and I don't even know if it's effective. Like, do people know folks that are waiting to buy a bike that aren't buying, but because now they'll get $300 off, now they will. I don't know if anybody have any thoughts on any of that. Hey,
So
go ahead,
I
Jen.
was just, oh no, I was just going to say, I was in a showroom the other night and talking, they know me in there because, well, you guys understand. And I was talking to the manager, and she actually had a couple of people that, she knew and like me that had been giving the people that work in the showroom, if they weren't going to use their codes, giving them to them to use. And they kept track of there's 3 left, there's 4 left, etc. And she said, hey, if you want, if you're not going to use your codes and you want to share them, we'd be happy to use them. And I think they're potentially going to use them as closing tools in the showroom.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to send her, I'm going to make sure none of my friends need one, but then, send anything I have extra to them to hopefully be able to use.
That's pretty slick. So then the showroom sales reps can then it will help them get sales, so they'll meet their numbers, and then those that are coming in looking at a bike get the discount, and then you don't have to actually go find friends to use your. That is pretty slick.
Right. Yeah. And it's just people they know personally. Obviously, it's kind of
Right.
like off the book, or she's like my cousin and this and that. And I was like, but anything I can do to help them out, I'm happy to do. So.
Exactly. Well, that's pretty
And
neat.
I saw someone say that they were able to use the code for themselves and return their original bike for a bike plus and
Oh,
get the 700 and the 300.
wow.
So kind of like the deal that you were able to get like around Black Friday.
Right. I mean, for the individual, yeah. I know you could use it for yourself if you're buying a new bike, but in this scenario, they're returning and getting, they're getting the return of the $6. So they got the $700, and then they use the code. And now they get $1,000 off the purchase of the bike. Yeah, that's pretty slick.
Yeah, John, I'm a little confused because it seems like they keep flipping back and forth. They lowered the prices and then they added the shipping back on, and now they do this special right away. And, so
It
it
feels a
does
little
seem going back
right.
and forth. And then, but as far as trying to get it by the end of the quarter, they don't really put it on their books until delivery. So I think that it's going to be too late for it to happen in March anyway, right? So
Yeah, you're probably
for
Yeah,
most
man,
of
I
them.
kind of go back to that's what I was saying before, Mike, about the marketing. Like, what got me was I thought the good marketing was when they broke it down per month, and it was, $35 a month or $70 a month, more better, equivalent to a gym membership. And then when you were able to use a firm to finance it, they made it sound like it was $20 a month, and I thought that was excellent marketing. They have probably flown in so much inventory, and they're just sitting on so many bikes, and feel like the app and the digital membership is the way they're going to make money, that I wouldn't be surprised if they start giving the bikes away. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the question, John, you asked is it working for anyone? Is anyone on the fence about buying a bike because of the price? I guess that
right.
was my point, was when they broke it down with the firm and they broke it down to the gym membership, price wasn't an issue. So I just don't know if the $300, I mean, obviously it's expensive and money's tight for everyone right now, but I just don't know if price is what they're finding is the biggest issue. I don't have
That's
the answer to that.
that's where I'm at. I wonder the same thing. I wonder the exact same thing. I don't know if it is.
Yeah. I was just going to say that it seems just like really desperate to me. Like when I saw the emails coming in, I was like, okay, like they really are just trying and throwing like everything out there that they can possibly think of, like without a real plan. It's kind of like they're going to meetings, they're brainstorming, they're saying, okay, let's try this. And then they just say, okay, let's just shoot it out there. Because the same thing, like you mentioned before with the apparel and all that stuff. I'm like, where's all this randomness coming from? It's just like every day there's something new that they're trying to like get you to get. And I'm just like, I don't see, to me, it would make most people feel a little bit unsure, even more unsure than they were before seeing you doing all this. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. There's a little bit of. It feels like I get the sense like there's a little bit of chaos. Like I'm
And
not sure.
doesn't it seem like you would want to market the app or the platform or classes more so than the bike initially? I don't know. I'm just trying to think about ways to get people into the content first versus getting the bike first in the commitment, and then
I
get like a lot of people like transition over, kind of like the gateway drug. You kind of transition over into getting a bike. So I don't know. I think I kind of agree. I agree with Deidre there. Like, I was shocked to see another price decrease or discount. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I was gonna say, I think that the instructors have been pushing using the app. Like, if you follow any of their IG stories, they're constantly reminding you that you can use the app to do this. Like, Kirsten just dropped a audio run, and she's like, you don't need equipment, you can ride, you can run using the app. And so I feel like they're definitely pushing the app. But I feel like for people who are kind of on the fence, $300 off is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge amount of money to chop off of that bike where you're like, maybe, you were before like, maybe I want it, maybe I don't. But then someone says, hey, here's my code, get $300 off. We're like, well, damn, $300 is significant.
So here's
To
where
that point, Danielle, yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Maybe what we look at, and John, you can pull the numbers next time they come out, is how conversion looks from app users after this went down. I
right.
think that's what you'd want to see. So that low hanging fruit, like Danielle says, those people that are kind of like already app users, but not necessarily made the decision to get no bike, they just go ahead and pull the trigger and get the bike because the $300 just moves them to that next step.
Here's where the chaos, where it feels like chaos to me. So we know late last year they lower the bike price down to $14.95, and then shortly thereafter they have the earnings call and they're like, damn, we lowered the price, and we used to have like 50-50 kind of purchases between bike and bike plus. Now it's more like 75-25. Everybody's buying the bike because it's so cheap, and now because they're buying the lower cost one and the higher cost one, they're not really buying. Now our revenue's lower, and we didn't really expect that. Then we get into, so that was kind of like an error, I guess. So then you get into the new year, and then they add back delivery fee. And I saw that as a means to just increase the price that they just decreased. That's how I saw that. So to kind of correct that problem. And so they increase it back because with the new delivery fee, which is like $250. And now all of a sudden this month they're going, okay, we're going to take basically that $250 back if you give somebody a referral code. It's like up and down, up and down, up. It seems really chaotic to me.
I'm wondering, though, if it's targeted more towards tread users. Because I feel like I was an app user. I had a bike and then used the app with a different tread. So I kind of wonder if this is for people who are not using a Peloton tread more so than not using a Peloton bike.
Mm.
And it's like, we want to convert you over to get the tread. Because, I mean, I don't know. For me, I really wanted the whole leaderboard. I wanted the whole experience of the tread. But I already had the bike. So,
Right.
like, an extra $300 off would have been like, ooh, all
Yeah.
right. Like, okay. We
Yeah,
can
maybe
work
they're
with this.
really focused on that. I don't know. I'm not sure, but
It'll
yeah, I
be
hear
easy
you.
to track once they'll be able to pull all the data from the codes and see how well it actually did. And I feel like they could figure that out in about a month.
I'm really
Is
interested.
anyone on the? Oh, sorry, John. I was wondering if anyone in the room is just an app user.
I think everyone here owns a product. I don't think so. I don't think anyone's an app user only.
If you are, I have a $300. No, I'm kidding. I have a $300 gift card for you. No, I was just wondering if anyone was. Interesting. I just wanted to hear if they were inclined now to buy a bike.
Yeah. Hey, Shaylon, did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, perfect. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
To the person who was just speaking, I am a app user. I have no desire to purchase the bike, but I have been using the app for the past 3 years, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I like everything that it has to offer, and but I don't know who Peloton is gonna. I think that they are targeting the more so the app users to try to sell to get them to buy. It's just not for me. But I am an app user, and I use it every single day.
That's awesome. And that would make sense if their intent is really to kind of get these conversions, these crossover sales from app users. That would make sense. Cool. Oh, well, See, Tammy, we got through I think. No, we didn't. We missed a couple. But anyway, I'll
I was
just.
gonna say, don't you even lie. We did not get through every topic.
I was gonna say, some of us may have had a birthday in there too at this point, but yeah, we might have gotten through everything,
No,
maybe.
we didn't get through. We didn't talk about the fitness mirror stuff. So I'm seeing one or two things in here we didn't get to. That's all right. I'll push those in next week. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out for so long and talking with me and talking with the group and being collaborative. I kind of see these discussions as like a little different than, I mean, this isn't really intended to be like a news outlet. We're not eyewitness news. We just kind of take information and just have collaborative conversation about it. And I think there's like a uniqueness in that we can just be from a community perspective, just have open conversation. And not necessarily break any news, just kind of talk about the news, and I kind of enjoy that, and hopefully you guys do too. We will be back next week, and I'm sure have a whole bunch of new topics to talk about. I'll try to keep the list down next week. Probably not, but I'll try. And if I don't see you guys before then, hopefully I'll see you on the leaderboard. All right.
Thanks,
Cool.
John. Thanks, Tammy.
Thanks, John.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.